So both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Sony ULT Field 5 are great large portable Bluetooth speakers to consider. They get loud enough for, let's say, a 10-person or more get-together, but they're small and durable enough to easily take them to the beach with you. However, for less than both the JBL Xtreme 4 or the Sony ULT Field 5, you can get yourself a Soundcore Boom 2 Plus. So today we're going to compare the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus to both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Sony ULT Field 5, and let's see if it's even worth going with these other two options. So first, there's pricing. Now, the JBL Xtreme 4 has a retail price of $380, and the Sony ULT Field 5 has a retail price of $330. But then there's the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus, which has a retail price of $250, heavily undercutting these smaller options. Nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these speakers up, they'll be linked down below, or you can always press on the YouTube shopping button, and if you want to further support the channel, then you can always pick up some merch. So first, there's the design of these speakers. Now, the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is considerably larger than these other two speakers, but the Boom 2 Plus is still relatively easy to take on the go with you because it does come included with a shoulder strap. Now, these other two speakers also come included with shoulder straps, and I will add that the shoulder straps feel more premium as well, and the JBL Xtreme 4 has the added benefit of having a built-in bottle opener. But overall, both the Sony and JBL are more convenient to take on the go with you because they are smaller and they also feel more premium thanks to their fabric wrap bodies. Whereas the Boom 2 Plus has a mostly plastic body, so this speaker is going to get scratched up way easier. But more importantly, all three of these speakers are waterproof, so they're all good options to take to the beach, but both the JBL and Sony are smaller and more convenient. But something that makes both the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus and the Sony ULT Field 5 stand out from a lot of other speakers out there on the market is that they both have built-in light features, and I actually think that both of these light features look good and they're both actually worth using. However, the light feature on the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus has a more localized effect to it, whereas the light feature on the ULT Field 5 has a more flooding effect to it. Overall, if you're looking for a light feature, then both of these speakers are good options. Just keep in mind that if you do decide to use these light features, that is going to take its toll on the battery life. Now, when it comes to battery life, the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus has an advertised battery life of 20 hours, the JBL Xtreme 4 has an advertised battery life of 24 hours, and the Sony ULT Field 5 has an advertised battery life of 25 hours. In real-world use, with the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus playing at 80% volume, and with the light feature turned on, and with the bass-up feature turned on, is good for around 7 hours of playback time, but you can always extend the battery life of it if you were to use it with its light feature turned off. Whereas with both the Xtreme 4 and Sony ULT Field 5 playing at 80% volume, and this is with the ULT Field 5 playing with its light feature turned off and with the ULT feature turned on, the Sony ULT Field 5 is good for around 12 hours of playback time, and the JBL Xtreme 4 is good for around 14 hours of playback time. But just keep in mind that the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is louder and has more bass than these other two speakers, while they're all playing at 80% volume. And to charge all of these speakers, they all charge via a USB-C port. Now, I expect both the JBL and Sony to charge via a USB-C port, but personally, I am surprised that the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus charges via a USB-C port just because of its sheer size. And with all of these speakers, you can also use their USB-C ports to charge your own devices, which I think is super useful, especially if you plan on taking any of these speakers to the beach, but you can't use any of these USB-C ports as a wired connection. However, both of the Sony and Soundcore still have an audio jack. But what really makes the Xtreme 4 stand out here is that you can actually remove the battery on this speaker. So if you want, you can either get multiple batteries and keep the party going, or if you ever get to a point where your battery can no longer hold a charge, instead of having to buy a completely new speaker, all you need to do is just buy a new battery. However, removing the battery on the Xtreme 4 isn't as easy as removing the battery on either the PartyBox 320 or PartyBox 120. With the Xtreme 4, you are going to need Allen keys, and the Xtreme 4 has this setup so that it can keep its IP68 rating. So swapping out the battery on the Xtreme 4 is durable, but it's not super convenient, but it can be done. And finally, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, all three of these speakers can be connected to two devices at the same time, so you and a friend can both be DJ. Latency is not an issue for any of these speakers, so you can use them to watch videos with on your phone. But when it comes to audio codecs, both the JBL and Soundcore only have support for SBC, whereas the Sony has support for SBC and AAC. But wait, if you want to further support the channel, then check out our affiliate partner, Manscaped. Manscaped has a trimmer for any of your grooming needs. First off, there's the Handyman, which is a compact face shaver. There's the upgraded Lawnmower 4.0 Pro, which charges via a USB-C port and it still has wireless charging, but more importantly, it has a new upgraded and stronger motor. There's also the Lawnmower 5.0, which also has the same great upgraded motor, plus it also comes included with a foil if you want to get a skin-tight shave. There's also the Dome Saver Pro, which has 5 double-track blade heads. It's easy to clean and it also charges via a USB-C port, or it also has wireless charging. And finally, there's the Chairman Pro, which is my personal favorite. It not only feels super premium, but it also has 2 interchangeable heads, so either you can get a skin-tight shave or you can leave the right amount of stubble. No matter your needs, Manscaped has a shaver for you, so check out Manscaped in the link down below. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about sound. Regarding speaker setup, both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus have dual front-firing woofers, dual front-firing tweeters, and dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides. Except on the Soundcore, it's bigger. Whereas with the Sony ULT Field 5, it has a single front-firing woofer, dual front-firing tweeters, and dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the sound test. All three of these speakers are playing at 75% volume. The Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is playing with its bass up feature turned on, and the Sony ULT Field 5 is playing with ULT 2. So first, we need to talk about max volume performance. Obviously, since the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is larger than these other two speakers, the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is going to get louder and it's just going to have more bass just because it's able to move more air. Overall, I think the Boom 2 Plus is going to be good for like a 15-person get-together, whereas both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Sony ULT Field 5 are good for like a 10-person get-together. Overall, both the Xtreme 4 and Sony ULT Field 5 get more than loud enough for their size, and if you were to use either of these two speakers while they're plugged in, you are going to get a performance boost out of them. You're going to get louder and you're going to have more bass. But still, the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is still going to be louder than these other two speakers. However, just keep in mind, with the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus, you do not get a performance boost out of it if you were to use it while it's plugged in. However, even though the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus gets noticeably louder than these other two speakers, it doesn't sound as open and it doesn't have as good instrument separation as these other two smaller speakers. So with both the JBL Xtreme 4 and Sony ULT Field 5, you are going to get more quality sound. And in general, I do feel that the Sony ULT Field 5 sounds better than the JBL Xtreme 4 because this speaker has more pronounced mid and it also has more bass. So even at its max volume, this speaker continues to sound full. So if you're looking for more volume and bass, then yes, the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is the way to go. But if you want better sound, then personally I do recommend the Sony ULT Field 5. But finally, let's talk about pairing these speakers up with other speakers. Now, with all of these speakers, if you have two of the exact same speakers, then you can wisely pair them up and get them to play in left and right stereo mode. But with the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus, since this speaker is using PartyCast 2.0, you can pair it up to other PartyCast 2.0 speakers, like let's say a Soundcore Boom 2, and you can get them to play in sync, and you can pair up to 100 speakers together. However, you cannot connect your Soundcore Boom 2 Plus to, let's say, a Soundcore Rave 3S, which is using OraCast, and I do feel that that is a shame, because the Soundcore Rave 3S is actually a very smart box speaker to consider. But then there's the Sony ULT Field 5, which is using Sony's Party Connect, so you can pair it up to other Sony speakers that are also using Party Connect, like either a Sony ULT Field 7 or to an XG500, XG300, XE300, XE200, or to an XP43, XP33, XP23, or to another ULT Field 5 or to an ULT Field 3, and you can pair up to 100 speakers together and get them to all play in sync. And you can also pair up your smaller Sony speaker to any of Sony's larger speakers that are also using Party Connect, like either an ULT Tower 10 or an ULT Tower 9 or an XV800, XV500, or to an XP700 or XP500. The only unfortunate thing here is you cannot connect your Sony ULT Field 5 up to the Sony ULT Field 1, and I feel that this is very unfortunate because the Sony ULT Field 1 is currently my favorite small portable Bluetooth speaker to use and recommend. I actually do like it more than the JBL Flip 7. And then there's the JBL Xtreme 4, which is using OraCast. So you can pair it up to other JBL speakers that are also using OraCast, like either another Xtreme 4 or to a Charge 6 or to a Flip 7, Clip 5, or Go 4. And you can also pair it up to any of JBL's larger party boxes that are also using OraCast, like either a Party Box Encore 2, Party Box 120, 320, 520, or to a Party Box Ultimate, and you can get them to play in sync. But also, something that makes the JBL Xtreme 4 very special here is that you can also pair it up to any of JBL's older speakers that are using Party Boost, like either a Boombox 3 or a Boombox 2, Xtreme 3, Pulse 5, Pulse 4, Charge 5, Flip 5, or to a Flip 6. And this is a big deal because the Xtreme 4 is currently the only JBL OraCast speaker that can connect to both JBL's older Party Boost speakers. So if you have any of JBL's older Party Boost speakers, then you might want to go with the Xtreme 4, because then that way your older Party Boost speakers won't go to waste, but you can still connect your Xtreme 4 up to any newer JBL speakers that are using OraCast. Overall, if you're planning on growing your collection of speakers, then you do want to go with the JBL Xtreme 4 because it's using OraCast, and you can also connect it up to any of JBL's older Party Boost speakers, and you can also pair it up to any other non-JBL speakers that are also using OraCast. However, I do find that Sony's Party Connect is more stable than OraCast, but with Sony's Party Connect, you are going to be stuck in Sony's ecosystem. But with all that being said, the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus is a very impressive speaker that gives you a very big bang for your buck. The Soundcore Boom 2 Plus gets louder and has more bass than both the JBL Xtreme 4 and the Sony ULT Field 5. The Boom 2 Plus also has an impressive looking light feature, and I like that you can use its USB-C port to charge your own devices. However, if you were to go with either the JBL JBL Xtreme 4 or the Sony ULT Field 5, first off, you are going to get better sound quality because both of these speakers are going to have better instrument separation and they're going to sound more open. And overall, I do feel that the Sony ULT Field 5 is the best sounding speaker here because it has the best definition in the mid and more bass. But also, both the JBL and Sony are more portable and they both have longer lasting battery lives. They just don't get as loud as the Soundcore Boom 2 Plus, but that's fine because they're way smaller. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.